Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Coach Craig Sports. Today is Saturday, so we will be going through the starts and sits for the 26 remaining teams in play this week. And that's right, there's only 26 because there are 4 teams on bye this week. This is the first set of bye weeks for the NFL season. So we're going to get it started with the Miami Dolphins. So most notably, Tua is back in this game and will start at quarterback. This game is being played in London, I believe, as well. Tua is not somebody you should feel comfortable starting this week. I think he's actually like my 3rd or 4th worst ranked quarterback this week. Just a lot of uncertainty there overall, so he's going to be a sit. Myles Gaskin, low end running back 2, flex play type of guy. You can start him if you need to. Malcolm Brown, he's going to be a sit. Jalen Waddle, wide receiver 3, flex play type of territory. You can start him if you need to. Preston Williams, you could only play him in a pinch if you really, really need to, but I wouldn't recommend it at this point in time. Mike Gesicki, you can start. Just temper your expectations just a little bit. Jacoby Brissett really helped boost his value quite a bit. Dolphins defense, they are a streamable defense this week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then once again with the kickers, as always, if anything changed, I will let you guys know. Then on the opposite side of that game, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars. So we got Trevor Lawrence. He's going to be a sit this week. If you're in a 2-quarterback league, you could roll him out there, but otherwise, not really interested in him this week. James Robinson, he's going to be a start. Carlos Hyde is a sit. Laviska Shenault, he is boom bust wide receiver 3 this week, honestly. If you really need to play him, you can, but hopefully you have a little bit better options at this point in time. Marvin Jones, kind of in that same range, boom bust wide receiver 3. He is actually, I believe, the 36th ranked wide receiver for me this week, so right in the back end of that wide receiver 3 territory. Then we move down to Dan Arnold. Dan Arnold is like a low-end tight end 1 to a high-end tight end 2 this week. You can start him if you don't have anybody better. If you have somebody better, just play that better player. Jacksonville Jaguars defense, I think they are actually a streamable defense this week. They haven't been the greatest this year, but the Miami Dolphins offense is not very scary at all. And on a week where we only have 28 teams in total in play, there's not that great a defensive matchup, so they're definitely one of them this week. I did mention them on waivers as kind of that streamable defense that not a lot of people are going to be going after. So supposedly the Jacksonville Jaguars have named a kicker as of yesterday, but they didn't say which one it was. So we got Matthew Wright and Josh Lambo. Not interested in either one of them. That's all I got to say about their kicker situation. Then we move over to my Houston Texans. Once again, probably just looking at Brandon Cooks this week. They are playing against the Colts. Maybe somebody else comes into value. Last week it was Chris Moore and Chris Conley a little bit. Do I expect that repeating? Probably not. Chris Moore's not somebody I'd go out of my way to start this week, but they did sign him to the active roster. But who knows? Danny Amendola could be back in this game too and just ruin his value altogether. But with that being said, Houston Texans, once again, just start Brandon Cooks, nobody else. Then we move over to the Indianapolis Colts. Carson Wentz is a fine streamable quarterback this week if you need to play him. If you don't, you have better options. Just play your better options. Pretty simple there. Jonathan Taylor is going to be a start. He's going to be probably one of the better running backs in play this week, going against that Texans team that's not the best defense in the world. Plus, he did play very well against them last year as well. So he's a must start this week. Nyheim Hines is going to be a set for me unless you're in a PPR league and you really need somebody, then I guess you can play him, but I'm not super excited about him with what I assume is going to be a positive game script most of the day for the Colts. Michael Pittman Jr., you can start him up. Wide receiver 3, flex play if you need to. Zach Pascal, Paris Campbell, they're both going to be sits for me this week. Although we did see Paris Campbell get a little bit more work in the last game on Monday night. Colts tight ends. Texans have not done very well against the tight end position in general. But in a redraft type of setting, not excited about starting Jack Doyle or Mo Alley Cox at this point in time. If you're looking at one of them in DFS, that's perfectly fine though. Colts defense, they are going to be a start. Pretty simple there. Rodrigo Blankenship, the kicker, is out with a hip injury. We did see him kind of banged up on Monday night as well. So Michael Badgley just signed to the practice squad. I will assume will be the kicker this week. And you do not want to start either one of these kickers at this point in time. Then we move over to the Packers. So we got Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams. Pretty simple there. Must start every week, all 3 of them. A.J. Dillon, if you were really in a pinch, I guess you could play him. Should be a decent matchup against the Bears. Randall Cobb's going to be a sit. Alan Lazard's a sit. Robert Tonyan, it is a good matchup for him, so maybe he pays off. If you're really desperate at tight end, if you need a streamable tight end, you can consider him, but otherwise, I just would sit him. Packers defense, you can start. Bears offense is really banged up right now. Justin Fields is still a rookie quarterback. Packers defense is not good by any means, but they are a streamable defense this week. Then we move over to the Chicago Bears. Justin Fields is going to be a sit. We really haven't seen enough out of him so far yet. Damian Williams is now on the COVID list, so this is Khalil Herbert's backfield. Ryan Nall and Artavius Pierce are likely to be active in this game too as well, but we've seen the short stints of them in the NFL, and it's nothing great. I don't hate Artavius Pierce, but he's not somebody you play in redraft. Khalil Herbert's going to get most of the workload, so he is somebody that I would consider a running back 2, low-end running back 2 this week. Allen Robinson, dealing with an ankle injury. He's still questionable. Not sure if he's going to play in this game. I would sit him either way. Darnell Mooney, wide receiver 3, flex play type of option this week. We've seen him have pretty good chemistry with Justin Fields, and if Allen Robinson is out, could be even more of a benefit for him. Cole Kmet, the tight end. Maybe if Allen Robinson misses, it helps him out, but he's been doing a lot of blocking as well with Justin Fields in, with that offensive line being banged up and everything too. Not somebody I'm super excited about this week, so he's going to be a sit. Bears defense, they're playing against the Packers, so they're going to be a sit as well. Then we move over to the Cincinnati Bengals. We have Joe Burrow against the Lions. You can start him probably a low-end quarterback 1, high-end quarterback 2. Joe Mixon, he's going to be a must-start. Very good matchup for him. All 3 of these wide receivers you can feel comfortable starting this week. Tyler Boyd's probably the lowest one for me, kind of wide receiver 3 in most formats. PPR format obviously boost him up just a little bit more. CJ Uzomah, he's going to go back to sit territory just because we haven't seen much more from him since that 2-touchdown game. Bengals defense, one of the top streaming defenses this week, so you can start them up against this Lions team. Then we move over to the Detroit Lions. So Jared Goff, he's going to be a sit unless you're in a super flex or a 2-quarterback league. Jamal Williams has been dealing with an illness as well, so not interested in him to begin with, and now he's even more not interesting because he's been sick. So he might be limited in this game either way, or might not even play in general. So then DeAndre Swift, he's going to be a start. As long as he's playing, he's always a start. Monroe St. Brown, you can look at it as a wide receiver 3 flex play type of option this week, especially in PPR formats. Quintez Cephas is hurt, and I believe Tyrell Williams is not back from the IR yet from his concussion. Khalif Raymond, he's going to be a sit. TJ Hawkinson, he's going to be a start. The Bengals have done better against the tight end position so far this season, but they really haven't gone against any tough competition there either. Hawkinson is coming off of down weeks back to back, but he's still a very good player, still one of the primary options in this Detroit Lions offense. The Lions defense is going to be a set. Austin Seibert, I believe, is the kicker once again. The 1 week, Ryan Santos so mixed in there too. I believe Seibert was on the COVID list at that point in time. So Lions going back and forth there, but Seibert's still not anybody you want to play either way. Then we move over to the Los Angeles Rams. You can pretty much start all the main pieces here. So Matthew Stafford, Darrell Henderson, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. Pretty much everybody else is going to be a sit besides the Rams defense. You can play Tyler Higbee as a low-end tight end 1, high-end tight end 2 this week as well. Should be a decent matchup for him, especially, the Giants defense has not been very good this year. They're missing Blake Martinez, their leader on defense. So it should be a good matchup all the way around for the Los Angeles Rams. Then on the Giants side of the ball, Daniel Jones is going to be back. He did clear concussion protocol, so he's going to play, which is kind of a surprise if you've seen the way that he wobbled off the field last week and got carted off after his concussion. He's still going to be a sit, still going against a pretty good defense, and who knows how right his head is after that concussion. Then we got Devonta Booker. He is a running back 2 for me this week. You can start him. Unless you have clear better options, I would recommend playing him. Sterling Shepard, likely to be back this week. He is still listed as questionable, though, so just keep an eye out on that one. If he plays, you can play him as like a wide receiver 3 flex play type of option. If he doesn't play, obviously you sit him. Darius Slayton will be back this week. He's going to be a set unless Sterling Shepard doesn't play, then maybe you can consider him. Kadarius Toney, he is listed as questionable as well, but if he plays, you're going to start him. If he doesn't play, you're obviously going to sit him. Then we got Evan Ingram, and this is a pretty good matchup for him, but some of these other guys getting healthy and coming back, probably not the best situation for him. He's probably like a high-end tight end 2. If you really need to stream somebody this week, you can go with Evan Ingram. If you don't need to do it, then don't do it. Giants defense is going to be a sit. They have not played very well, like I already mentioned, and the Rams offense is pretty good in general. Then we move over to the Kansas City Chiefs. So you're going to start Patrick Mahomes. You're going to start Tyreek Hill if he plays, and you're going to start Travis Kelce. That's pretty simple there. Then we get into the meat and potatoes of the rest of it. So Darrell Williams, Jerick McKinnon. I think Darrell Williams, like a low-end running back 2 flex play type option this week. You probably have better options than him. I assume this is going to be more of a split backfield than people like to think. I don't think they're going to run the ball quite as much as people like to think. So Darrell Henderson is not this major value that everybody thinks he's going to be. But I could be wrong. We'll have to see how it plays out this week. They are going against the Washington football team, who is supposed to have this good front 4, this good front 7, just quite hasn't been there so far this season. Jerick McKinnon, if he gets involved in a passing game in a PPR setting, he is a little bit more exciting to me, though, which I'm not a big guy on Jerick McKinnon, but shout out to those who are. Then we move down to McCole Hardman. He had the 12 targets last week, which I don't assume is going to repeat. They were in a negative game script. Tyreek Hill is banged up as well. If Tyreek Hill doesn't play, you can play him as that boom bust wide receiver 3 type of option this week. If Tyreek Hill does play, he's going to be a sit for me though. Josh Gordon, don't play him. He played 9 snaps last week. Pretty simple there. I shouldn't even have to put his name on this list, but the fact that he's rostered in 27% of leagues is just the reason that he's on here, is tell you, hey, don't be stupid. Don't play Josh Gordon this week. Then the Chiefs defense, you could play in this matchup, especially if Terry McLaurin misses. I know the Chiefs defense has been terrible this year, but if Terry McLaurin's missing, then Washington essentially has nothing on their offense. I know Antonio Gibson's still there and everybody loves him, but he's banged up to crap too. So could be a very good matchup for the Chiefs defense, but they're still going to be without Ward at cornerback as well and Chris Jones at defensive tackle. So just keep an eye out on that overall. Then we move over to the Washington side. Taylor Heineke, if Terry McLaurin does play and if he's cleared, he sounds like he's going to be really good, then Taylor Heineke is probably a low-end quarterback 1, high-end quarterback 2. I don't know if I expect Terry McLaurin to play or not. I kind of do, just because he's this super tough guy that plays through everything, but there's a chance that it could come back to bite him in the butt. Then we have Antonio Gibson. You're going to start him. He's a running back 2 this week. He is banged up. Just keep that in mind when you're playing him, but based on what else is out there, running back, he's a lot better than some other guys out there. J.D. McKissick, this should be a negative game script, so you could play him especially in a PPR type of league. He's more of that low-end running back 2 flex play type of option. Terry McLaurin, if he plays, you play him. If he doesn't play, you obviously sit him. Adam Humphries, you're just going to sit. Even if Terry McLaurin misses, I'm not super excited about Adam Humphries unless you're in a super, super, super deep league. Ricky Seals-Jones, I think you can do a lot worse at tight end this week. Honestly, he's a decent streaming option. Revenge game for him, and Kansas City has not been very good against tight ends so far this season. Washington's defense is a sit, as they've been playing terrible this year. They've been not able to stop the pass. And what does Kansas City do best? Throw the ball. Then we get over to the Minnesota Vikings. We got Kirk Cousins going against the Panthers. He's probably somebody I'm not going to start in a 1-quarterback league. He's going to be a sit for me. Dalvin Cook is back. He's practiced in full 2 days this week, which is kind of a surprise. Thought he was going to miss this game, then take the bye week off, and then they give him 3 weeks off. Didn't quite end up happening, but if he plays, you obviously play him. If he doesn't play, you obviously play Alexander Madison. Pretty simple there. Justin Jefferson did not practice the first couple days this week, but he's good to go, so I'm not super worried about him. I would feel comfortable starting him. Adam Thielen, however, did not practice the first couple days this week, kind of banged up, coming off a down game. If you have a better option, you can sit him this week. Not the best matchup in the world. Banged up. We'll see what happens with him. If you don't have a better option, just roll him out there because it's still Adam Thielen. He's still a relatively good player. KJ Osborne is going to be a sit for me this week unless one of these 2 wide receivers is out. Tyler Conklin could be a little bit of a sneaky tight end this week. Shaq Thompson is missing again for that Carolina Panthers defense. If Conklin gets some targets, if Adam Thielen goes down, leaves the game or something, he could pay off. Then for the Vikings defense, for me, I think they're a 13th or 14th defense this week. If you don't have a clear better option, you can play them. If you have a better option, just roll with your better option. Then on the Panthers side, we have Sam Darnold. You can start him as a low-end quarterback 1, high-end quarterback 2 this week. Vikings defense has not been the greatest against the pass this year, I'll be honest. Chuba Hubbard's still going to be starting. Christian McCaffrey's out once again, so start Chuba Hubbard. Pretty simple there. Running back 2 territory. DJ Moore, been pretty solid so far this year. I know last week was a little bit of a down game for him, but he's still a very good player. Still going to see the targets, and he's going in a pretty good matchup. So he's going to be a start. Robbie Anderson, he's like a wide receiver 3 flex play type of option if you need to go there. If you don't need to go there, don't go there. Then Terrace Marshall is going to be a sit. These Panther tight ends, I know Tommy Tremble did score last week, I believe it was, but still not playing a ton. Ian Thomas still getting the bulk of the snaps. Don't feel comfortable starting either one of these 2 tight ends at this point in time. Panthers defense, you can definitely play. I believe they're the number 11 or number 12 defense for me this week. So right on the back end, but if you have a better option, roll with your better option. If you don't, Panthers defense, you could do a lot worse. Then next up is the Chargers game. We got Justin Herbert. He's going to be a start. Austin Eckler's a start. Keenan Allen's a start. Pretty simple there. Mike Williams has been dealing with a knee injury. There's a good chance that he misses this game. He is listed as questionable, but he has not practiced at all this week. If he plays, you can start him. I would temper your expectations, though, if he does play. If you have clear better options and he does play, I just play your better options and not risk it this week, though. If Mike Williams does miss, Jalen Guyton is interesting in DFS, but not particularly in redraft. I would be more interested in Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, and the tight ends and Jared Cook and Donald Parham. That being said, we got Jared Cook here. He would be a start if Mike Williams doesn't play. But if Mike Williams does play, he's probably going to be a sit this week. Chargers defense is going to be a sit this week. Just not super interested in them. They had looked a little bit better earlier on this year, but then they did give up a ton of points last week as well. Then on the Ravens side, we got Lamar Jackson. He's a must-start every single week. If you're benching Lamar Jackson at this point in time, you either have two really, really great quarterback options or you're crazy. Then we move over to the running backs. Not excited about starting any of them. I guess Latavius Murray is the one you'd start if you had to start one, but still not super excited about it. Marquise Brown is going to be a start. Rashad Bateman should be back this week. As I mentioned in my waiver wire video, please temper your expectations. Do not start Rashad Bateman this week unless you're super desperate and there's nobody else better to pick up on the waiver wire. Because there's probably a guy on your waiver wire that you can pick up that's going to score 10 to 12 points and outscore Rashad Bateman this week. Mark Andrews is going to be a start. Chargers haven't been very good against the tight end position in general. Then we have the Ravens defense going against the Chargers offense, very high powered. Not going to start them there either. Then we move over to the Arizona Cardinals. Cliff Kingsbury will not be with the team for this game. Steve Keim, the GM, isn't either. And then there's a couple like other little players here and there that aren't as well. I believe Zach Allen, the defensive end. So it looks like the offensive line coach, run game coordinator is probably going to be calling the offense. So maybe they run the ball just a little bit more in this game. Who knows at this point in time. Kyler Murray does have a little bit of a right shoulder injury too, though. We saw what that did to him last year, so maybe that impacts him just a little bit. Still feel comfortable starting him this week, though, unless you have a clear, better option or a similar option to what you believe Kyler Murray will be with a banged-up shoulder. Then we got Chase Edmonds. He's going to be a start. James Conner, you can look at it like a low-end running back 2, flex play type of option this week. If he gets in the end zone, he's definitely going to help you out. DeAndre Hopkins, I would start. The other 3 wide receivers, one of these guys is going to pay off, but I don't feel comfortable starting any of the 3 this week, so AJ Green, Rondell Moore, Christian Kirk, they're all going to be sits for me. Cardinals tight end room, obviously they lost Max Williams. Yesterday they did trade for Zach Ertz. He is not eligible to play in this game though. So you're going to be looking at probably Darrell Daniels and Demetrius Harris. Not interested in either 2 of those guys unless you're playing like a DFS setting and trying to get real cute and make a dart throw that people aren't playing. Then we got the Cardinals defense. Not like super excited about them this week, so they're going to be a sit as well. Then on the Brown side of the ball, we got Baker Mayfield. He's going to be a sit. Nick Chubb is out in this game, so he's going to be a sit. Kareem Hunt, questionable to play, but expected to play, so he's going to be a must start this week with Nick Chubb out. If Kareem Hunt does not play, a lot of people are going to tell you Demetric Felton. I think it's going to be Dearness Johnson. You could probably play both of them, especially if you're in a PPR league. They're probably going to split carries, but Dearness Johnson's going to get the bulk load of the running game. Demetric Felton, a little bit smaller guy, probably going to get some more receiving opportunities, but Dearness Johnson is not a bad pass catching back either for a guy of his size. Then we got Odell Beckham Jr. Maybe he sees a little bit more targets without Nick Chubb, but I don't know. At this point in time, you pretty much have to sit him. Same thing with Rashard Higgins and Donovan Peoples-Jones, Austin Hooper, David Njoku. Not interested in starting any of these tight ends. I know David Njoku had the crazy week last week, but a lot of it came on a couple big plays. They were in a game that they had to throw the ball a ton. Probably not going to happen again this week. Cardinals have been actually pretty good against the tight end position as well. And hey, Austin Hooper outsnapped him, so not interested in that play at all. Browns defense is going to be a sit there, dealing with a lot of injuries once again. Then we move over to the Raiders. We got Derek Carr. He is going to be a sit for me this week. Don't think you need to play him. I think there's at least 12, 13 guys that are better than him this week. Josh Jacobs is going to be a start, running back 2 territory. Well, he's not the best guy in the world. He's not as bad as some of the other options that you could have this week. Kenyon Drake's going to be a sit. It's just not valuable for fantasy at this point in time. He might be even droppable at this point in time unless you have Josh Jacobs and you're trying to handcuff him. But even in that case, we saw Peyton Barber be the primary back, so maybe Kenyon Drake's just droppable. That's a whole nother discussion for another day. Henry Ruggs, Hunter Renfrow, Bryan Edwards. Not really excited about any of these guys. Obviously, Hunter Renfrow offers the safe floor, so if you're in PPR, you need someone to plug in your wide receiver 3 spot, you could definitely play him there. Darren Waller is going to be a start. And the Raiders defense, I don't know with them at this point in time. They're pretty banged up. I don't expect it to be like a crazy high-scoring game with them in Denver, so they're not the worst team in the world, but probably closer to like 14 or 15 in our rankings for defense this week. Then we move over to the Denver Broncos side of the ball. Teddy Bridgewater is going to be a sit. I did have Drew Lock still listed on here. That's from last week, so don't worry about Drew Lock. Melvin Gordon, if he plays, you can start him. kind of low in running back 2, flex play type of territory. Same thing with Javonte Williams. If Melvin Gordon doesn't play, which I do expect him to play because he's been banged up for a while now anyways, then Javonte Williams would obviously be a high-end running back 2 start type of play. Courtland Sutton, yes, this matchup looks super, super good, but he's going to have Casey Hayward on him most of the day. You can start him, just temper your expectations. Tim Patrick's the one that I'm more interested in, going against Amik Robertson on the outside. So he is actually wide receiver 26 for me this week. So I'm very excited about Tim Patrick overall. And then Noah Fant at tight end. He's one of the better tight ends out there this year. He's got a decent matchup, so he's somebody that you want to start. Pretty obvious there. Broncos defense, you can start them if they can get some pressure on Derek Carr. We've seen him not be quite as good the last couple of games. So if they can do that, it's going to be a pretty good defense and a pretty good start this week overall. Then we have the Cowboys. Dak Prescott's going to be a start. Ezekiel Elliott, as long as he's playing, he's a start. And I don't expect him to miss. He just doesn't miss when he's injured. And he's not really injured. He's just kind of banged up. Tony Pollard's going to be a sit unless Ezekiel Elliott would miss. Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, you can start both of them this week. Feel pretty comfortable with them there. We're not starting Cedric Wilson. He's a sit. Dalton Schultz playing very well this year. He's a start this week. Temper your expectations just a little bit since the Patriots have done very well against the tight end position, though. Blake Jarwin, he's going to be a sit. Cowboys defense, you could stream in a pinch if you really need to. Otherwise, they'd be a sit. Then on the Patriots side of the ball, Mac Jones is going to be a sit. Damian Harris, if he plays, I guess he's a running back 2 flex play type of option. Not super excited about him, but he is questionable to play as well if he doesn't play. Brandon Bolden, as a flex option in PPR leagues, not the worst thing in the world in what should be a negative game script. Ramondre Stevenson's there too, but not super excited about him. Jacoby Myers is going to be a start. Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, they're both going to be sits. Jonnu Smith's a sit. Hunter Henry's a start at this point in time. He's played very well recently, actually, too. Patriots defense is a sit. Then we move over to the Seattle Seahawks in the Sunday night football game. So Geno Smith taking over for Russell Wilson. He's going to be a sit. Don't expect too big a day for him against a decent Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Alex Collins, the running back. Low end running back 2. Flex play type of option if you need to go there. You need to go there. Chris Carson is out. I believe he was placed on IR too as well, so that kind of tells you what they think about his neck injury at this point in time. So Alex Collins could get a big boost in value, but honestly, he's not that good, playing against a pretty good defense too as well. So not super excited about him, but we'll see what ends up happening. DK Metcalf been banged up with a foot injury, but is expected to play. As long as he's playing, you're going to start him. If he doesn't play, you sit him. Tyler Lockett, he's going to be a start. Freddie Swain's a sit unless DK Metcalf doesn't play. Then if you're that DK Metcalf owner, maybe you want to pick up Freddie Swain just in case. Unless you have somebody else in the Sunday night or the Monday night football game, you can switch out for DK Metcalf in your flex spot. Gerald Everett, he could have a decent week, but they are playing against the Steelers, who have been good against the tight end position. Coming off the COVID list, so not really excited about starting him at this point in time. Will Disley's going to be a sit with Gerald Everett back. Seahawks defense, they're not the worst in the world, but you probably should be able to do better than them this week, so it's going to be a sit for me overall. Then on the Steelers side of the ball, we got Ben Roethlisberger. He's like a streamable quarterback this week if you really, really need to go there against a poor Seattle defense. But in a one-quarterback league, hopefully you don't have to go there. Najee Harris must start pretty much at this point in time. Then we have Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson. I would start both of them this week and feel pretty comfortable about it. James Washington returns as Juju Smith-Schuster is on IR now. Should see some more run. Don't feel comfortable starting him or Ray-Ray McCloud or anybody else like that. So they're all going to be sits for me. Eric Ebron, Pratt Freiermuth, both going to be sits until we see their involvement in this offense with Juju Smith-Schuster missing. Steelers defense, you can start this week going against backup quarterback in Geno Smith. Then last but not least, we have the Monday Night Football game. We have the Buffalo Bills. So Josh Allen's a start. That's pretty much a given at this point in time. Zach Moss is going to be a start, running back 2 type of territory. Devin Singletary, I would not play unless you're super desperate. Not excited about him at all this week. Stephon Diggs, he's going to have a monster game. If you listen to the Point After podcast last night, my buddy Dan Brown, he actually said this is the big Stephon Diggs game. And I had him wide receiver number 1 last week. May have been 1 week early on that. Then we had Emmanuel Sanders. You can play him as that wide receiver 3 flex play type of option at this point in time. He's getting a lot of points based on touchdowns, though, and is probably not likely to sustain. Cole Beasley, been terrible 2 straight weeks, so he's probably going to be a sit. Then we got Gabe Davis still a sit. Dawson Knox, you can play in this matchup. He's been very, very good this year, but temper your expectations because the Titans have actually been pretty good against the tight end position so far this year. Part of that might just be because of all the points they're giving up to the wide receiver position, though. Bills defense, you can start in this matchup. They've been doing very well. I know A.J. Brown, Julio Jones are both back, Derrick Henry, and all that. But if they can get pressure on Ryan Tannehill, they can get out early. This is going to be a good game for that Buffalo Bills defense overall. Then last but not least, we got the Titans. Ryan Tannehill is going to be a sit. Derrick Henry's a start. Temporary expectations and a game script that's probably not going to be too positive for him. And against a tough defense. Pretty simple there. A.J. Brown, I feel comfortable starting at this point in time. Julio Jones, you have to treat as like a boom-bust wide receiver 3 this week. So if you need a guy like that, definitely roll him out there. Chester Rogers is going to be a sit unless you're in a super deep league. Titans tight ends, still not excited about them. They're all going to be sits. And that Titans defense is awful once again, so they are also a sit. But with that being said, that is the starts and sits for the 26 remaining teams left to play this week. Hopefully you all enjoyed this. If you have any other start sit questions, please leave them down in the comments below, and I will be sure to respond to them as quickly as possible. But with that being said, if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Definitely would appreciate it. It helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your fantasy football, helping you with DFS, whether it's NFL or NBA. NBA is starting on Tuesday, so super excited about that as well. I know you're probably here for a football video, but if you're into that at all, be sure to check that out as well. And if you're into NFL DFS, be sure to check out yesterday's video as well with the dollar store stacks, some cheap stacks. If you have any questions regarding DFS at all, please feel free to leave them down in the comments as well. And then with that being said, if you are a new or current subscriber who's yet to do so, also hit that notification bell down below. It's going to let you know every single time I post up a new video. And my current schedule, minus the NBA DFS, Tuesday is waiver wire day. Wednesday is the starts and sits for the Thursday night football matchup. Thursday is going to be the Thursday night football game, single game, showdown, DFS slate, taking a look at that, building some lineups. Friday is the dollar store stacks, looking at some cheap values that we can stack in DFS to open up value elsewhere. But with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed. And then last but not least, special shout out to each and every one of you watching today's video. I truly do appreciate you taking the time out of your day. It definitely means a lot to me, and I hope each and every one of you has a great rest of your day.